Hello and welcome to this video. Thanks for stopping by. This is an introduction to careers learning. We're going to talk through what careers learning is all about and how to implement careers into your academies. So first of all, it's important to look at the overall national career strategy by the Department for Education. This was originally brought out in 2017. So the National Career Strategy and our NAT strategy, it's preparing young people for their future work and life. So in general, young people feel like they're not being prepared for future work and life by the way things currently are across the nation. It's also based on research and evaluations on previous years of careers education, information, advice and guidance. The new strategy is about looking at what has worked well and what is successful in terms of preparing young people for their futures and helping them make informed decisions. So we do have a LAT engagement team strategy, career strategy, and we can give you access to that. The engagement team, we have the education director who manages the team. We have 3 careers advisors who are based across clusters, working with a business manager and the Lee Aspire programme manager. We also have excellent admin support. So we need to look at what is CEIAG. CEIAG stands for Careers Education, Information, Advice and Guidance. Careers Education is basically a planned and organised programme of activities and learning opportunities for students to develop their career management skills and learning about careers in general. Information, so this is obvious, but just to explain what we mean by information, we are talking about a range of reliable, relevant, up-to-date sources and resources that young people can use and parents can use to help them plan and map their futures and make informed decisions. Advice and guidance. So this is about interpreting the information that we're giving. It's about giving advice in general, but guiding the young people to make their own decisions, interpret and analyse the information that they're receiving, to make sense of it and to apply it to their own situations. It's about making sense of all the information that they've gathered from a whole range of different places, and about using this to help them move forward and make those future decisions. Of course, it's important that careers guidance is impartial. So what do we mean by impartiality? It's a non-biased perspective on the options available. So it's not about saying we want students in our own sixth forms because that suits us. Yes, we understand that there is pressure there to get numbers and get the right students in those places, but guidance is about being impartial. So it's about looking at what is best for that student. So considering their personality, their strengths, their interests, their learning style and their career goals. So it's about looking at what options might be best for that young person, for their career goal, for their particular preferred pathway. There are different pathways. For some it may be sixth form might be the best route for them, and for others that may be an apprenticeship or another option. It's about what best suits the student, their preferred pathway, their preferred way of learning. I'm sure by now you've all heard of the Gatsby Benchmarks. You've probably seen these around on posters. You may not have, but whether you have or not, these are here to stay at least for the foreseeable future. This is national. This is a national expectation from the Department for Education that schools need to be adhering to. So what are the Gatsby benchmarks? They are based on good practice. They are based on studies of what has worked well and what has been successful. So they are: 1, a stable careers programme; 2, learning from labour market information; 3, addressing the needs of each pupil; 4, linking the curriculum learning to careers; 5, encounters with employers and employees; 6, experiences of the workplaces; 7, higher education and further education encounters. And 8, personal guidance, careers interviews. So having looked at those benchmarks, you may be wondering, well, where do I fit into that as a maths teacher or as a PE teacher? Well, linking the curriculum learning to careers, benchmark number 4, is what we mainly going to explore and look at. And here's just a few examples, a few ideas of how you can get started with this. You may already be doing this. Many of you probably are already doing these things. But this is just to encourage you and to give you some other ideas if you're not already doing these things. So you can deliver presentations on what jobs the subject can lead to. You can do discussions in class about what skills are required for certain jobs. You can explain the different pathways and course entry requirements. A visit to a workplace that links to the subject. So what are the requirements about these benchmarks? How are we going to implement them, and what are some of the main key features? There's an expectation to record each student's career learning, and to map this learning to a suitable recognised framework, example the Career Development Institute framework. We're going to come to that in just a moment to give you a further explanation of what that is. By age 14, all students should have learned about STEM careers. Personal guidance should be offered at key transition points. So this includes an interview by age 16 and another offered at 18. Encounters with employers, we need to be hitting at least a minimum of 1 per year, although recent assessments we've had from investors in careers have basically demonstrated that it really needs to be more than this to be doing well and to be getting a good status on the award. It's not just about doing the bare minimum. There's actually no specific number or frequency of linking careers in the curriculum. So it's not about having to do it every lesson. It's not about needing to do it, all the time, every time you deliver a lesson. Of course not. We've discussed this as an engagement team, and we came to a consensus of around 3 times over the year. So that could be module 2, module 4, module 6, whatever fits in with your subject. As I mentioned earlier, I would come back to the Career Development Institute Careers Framework. Now, this is a shortened, simplified version of the career learning outcomes. So this is basically about the desired core skills, career management skills that we expect students to be learning. As you know, as teachers, when you deliver a lesson, about your learning outcomes, what it is you want those students to gain, and that's what you're assessed on, and that's how you measure the success of the students' progression. So it's the same with careers. They're split up into 3 main areas on the Career Development Institute. I've put the link on there below so you can check it out for yourselves. What we're covering is the self-awareness, personal autonomy, exploring careers and their pathways, so that's looking at labour market information, etc. Investigating and understanding the world of work and work life. Being collaborative, so that includes empathy, valuing diversity and inclusion. It's also about understanding health and safety at work, showing initiative and enterprise, so being able to network, being able to research ideas, making the most of opportunities. Number 8, identifying and exploring options. Planning and preparing for the world of work or their next steps, which may be university or A-levels, whatever it is they're moving on to. Higher education visits, mock interviews, how to write a CV. Number 10 is about adapting. It's about managing those transitions. So once young people are in their new position, so they've moved into sixth form or that they've moved on to something new, they need to adapt and do that successfully. So we are preparing them, you as teachers are preparing them all the time to move on to their next steps. You're doing this automatically without kind of almost realising it. The students learning to reflect and review on their decisions. Did they make the right decision? How did they make that decision? What was the process? And they are learning from reflecting on this. These are ongoing, lifelong skills that these young people are learning from our careers programmes. You may be wondering where the IB Learner Profile comes in, or if you've noticed our LAT career strategy, we have our own learner profile, very similar to IB. So you may be wondering where this fits, and aren't we just duplicating work? Well, yes, it does fit together nicely. They are not to be kind of, one doesn't replace the other. It's not about, well, we're doing this instead of IB. It's that they kind of marry up together, and they are closely linked and embedded into each other. So looking at those career learning outcomes, if you really think about it, all these words in the IB learner profile and our LAT learner profile, these buzzwords are in there. They are embedded into these learning outcomes that we are aiming for young people to be learning. So thank you very much for listening to this presentation. You can email us with questions if you have any, and we will provide you with links and further information if you need more support or information. We would like to thank you for taking the time out to get to the end of this. Thank you.